half naked in front of classmates. It was in 7th grade. My school would do something called Skyline Time for every 7th grade class. It's basically a week where the whole class drives to Austria and skis together. Besides that experience, Skyline Time was one of the best experiences of my life. However, let's get to the point. I shared a room with 2 at the time, close friends. Our bathroom was very small, and on the first day, we agreed on an order of who would shower first, second, and last. I had no influence on the outcome. So, obviously, I had to be the last to shower for the whole trip. Our teachers instructed us to get into groups with different roommates to find ideas for some stuff we could play after dinner. Our group consisted of my 2 roommates, my then crush, a friend of hers, and a former close friend of mine. They had all gathered in my room, as it was closest to the door, and were brainstorming. Meanwhile, I was showering. It was, as I got out of the shower, that I realized I had forgotten my towel. I kinda panicked for a second, then started yelling for someone to lay my towel in front of the door. But no matter how loud I screamed, no help arrived. Eventually, I improvised, and started drying myself off with the limited amount of toilet paper we had left. However, I quickly realized that the process was way too slow, and that I needed to think of something else. Then, somehow my stupid 7th grade brain decided it would be smart to use a bunch of plastic bags to dry myself, as if they weren't hydrophobic. We didn't have a trash can in the bathroom, so I just threw them into the toilet, which left it clogged for days. Eventually I knew I had no chance of drying myself off, so I took matters into my own hands. I went outside the bathroom with a used pair of boxers and went through the middle door, entering my room. However, I thought it was just going to be my friends, so I walked in completely carelessly. Suddenly, I saw a group of classmates staring at me. I only had a tight pair of boxers, and I was essentially half naked, in front of my crush, another girl, and everyone else in that room. My then close friend laughed his ass off as I bent over to get my towel from my bag. I was going to beat the shit out of him, but I didn't want to be in that room for any longer. Therefore, after grabbing my towel, I went back into the bathroom and dried myself. I went back in there 10 minutes.